Yes, we are investing in the blockchain business for blockchain applications that have business applications. The advent of the ICO is, so there's, when you pull away all the noise, I actually think it's market expanding. It's an additional source of capital. There's a lot of silliness and that's surrounding ICOs. I think it's a huge question still to be answered, whether if you're an existing equity holder in a company and the company does an ICO, does the value creation transfer to the tokens? I think that is an unknown, and I think I actually think we will see how that transforms. If you don't own the tokens and you only own equity, in my opinion, I think that's a problem. I think the capital piece of ICOs is only one thing that venture does. So it's market expanding. It's helping a lot of entrepreneurs get started. But that's just, capital is only one piece of building a business. And there are going to be a lot of projects that I think fail because they don't have also the company building mindset that, and some will succeed brilliantly. We will go through a painful growth phase.
So I think there are two questions embedded in your question. I think blockchain is a fabulous technology. From our vantage point, we'll probably do the next derivative of it, which is companies that can utilize the technology, in service or product offerings. There's so many really, really interesting things going on. So no question, this is going to be a transformative thing. And I had an LP tell me that, an LP, fund of funds for venture capitalists for particularly early stage, said 85% of his GPs have approached him about amending their agreements to include, so that they can do, not necessarily tokens, but blockchain. The ICO phenomenon, if you talk to anybody in the SEC or just read the newspaper and you look at, I think just today it said there was more money raised this year so far than all of last year. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to say it's going to be horrible across the spectrum because there's so much fraud right now, totally unregulated, and people can just raise money almost willy-nilly. I'm not to say all of them; some of them I'm sure are perfectly fine. But I think that if we fast forward, 3 to 5 years, and you look at it as an asset class, just ICOs, I bet you it's horrible.
So we made our first investment in a blockchain company, Bitcoin company, in 2012. I personally, unfortunately, sold all of my Bitcoin in 2013, which was actually my answer to my worst investment. But I think that there's obviously a lot of hype, a lot of energy around it. I think when you step back, you have to think about what is the benefit of a decentralized application, and why is it better to have that application decentralized and have it centralized? There's a lot of benefits of centralizing things. It makes things faster. It makes things more efficient. And you see this in the transaction times on the various major networks. Yes, there are certainly a host of opportunities that decentralizing will create value for. If you want to be cheeky, like money laundering is one of them. But there's other legitimate ones. However, I also don't believe it's nearly as many as the current euphoria would make you believe there is. Because at the end of the day, it is more efficient to do things in a centralized manner, so long as you trust whatever the centralized service provider is.